big and important agency with a ton of political pressure on it that might be in the process of falling apart. Joining us now is John Stanton, Washington bureau chief for BuzzFeed. John, thanks very much for being here.
It's good to be here.
So I understand that you have been doing some reporting on this story specifically, and that you've got some new stuff. What have you learned?
Well, sources of mine have told me that he was supposed to actually testify before the Senate Oversight Committee on Monday, the same day that he was conveniently fired or removed from office, and that the agency did not inform the members of the committee until, I guess, the day of the hearing, the day that he was moved out of internal. That they weren't going to be sending him over, they were going to send his deputy over because he had been removed from those duties. And you know, I think for an agency that values its secrecy and is unwilling to talk to the press or to members of Congress or the public really at all, you know, it does raise a red flag when the guy who would know where all the bodies are buried, sort of figuratively and literally within the agency, is suddenly moved, you know, the day that he's about to go testify before Congress.
Well, I guess that's the crux of it. I mean, is there, I know you've been working on the Border Patrol just as a story and as a sort of government accountability issue for a long time. Is there any indication from the firing specifically or from anything else about this official's past as head of internal affairs to suggest that he was about to be some kind of whistleblower? I mean, honestly, it wouldn't seem likely since he was the head of internal affairs and we know a little something about the record of internal affairs of that agency. But then again, he was fired the day he was going to testify, and that seems really fishy.
Yeah, you know, there are sort of conflicting pieces of evidence here. I mean, I've heard some people who say that he had sort of become committed to this idea of trying to rein in some of the cowboy behavior that's been going on along the southern border. But at the same time, he's also been at Internal Affairs during a time where you've had the majority of these shootings, fatal shootings, have happened in the last, you know, 4 or 5 years. And he's been in charge of Internal Affairs. One would think that this would have become a much bigger priority. There have been lots of stories about, you know, agents being involved with drug trafficking and other issues that have happened sort of throughout his tenure. So it's unclear whether or not there was something like that, or if this was the agency trying to signal to the public and to particularly advocates along the border that they were beginning to take this issue of the violence seriously. It's very, you know, when they don't talk, they won't explain themselves, they don't tell anybody anything, so it's hard to know.
There's so much Washington noise about the issue of immigration, but the way that immigration is enforced, particularly in terms of boots on the ground at the border, this is a really big story, and I think it's about to get bigger, and we're going to be doing more coverage on this in coming days. John Stanton, Washington bureau chief at BuzzFeed. John, thanks very much. I think there's really something here. Thanks.
It's good to be here.
All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.